would approach the problem like a normal person. Okay, maybe a software engineer, normal, regular person. I'm not, please don't be offended. Okay, everybody is important. Okay, and we also approach the problem as a data analyst or a data scientist. Okay, there are two ways to approaching this problem. Okay, and it's actually very important, very, very important you understand how to approach problems as a data analyst, not just because of okay the result of your work, but then even in interviews. Okay, because we can choose to solve this particular problem in different formats, in different ways. Okay, so I would solve it as the conventional guy, okay, the normal person who is going to get zero if he's applying for a data analytics job, okay, even though the answers are right, right? So hope you all understand the question. Okay, you can, let's just read it again. ShopRite sells a bag of rice for $40 and then makes a 20% profit. Okay, if it sells, that's for that bag, for one bag, right? If it sells 500 bags of rice, how much total profit does it make? Okay, so if we are to solve this normally, right, the first thing to do is to calculate the profit per bag, right? So by the time we find out the profit for a bag of rice, we'll be able to find the total profit by multiplying it by 500, because the question is, what's the total profit if they sell 500 bags? Okay, so now they sell one bag for $40. Okay, so in order for us to find the profit for a bag, basically from our little knowledge of arithmetic operations, right? Um, that's $40, right? Multiplied by how many percent profits did they say in the question? 20% profits. Okay, so 20% is 0.2, right? So 0.2. Okay, by the time we run this, it gives us the profit for a bag. So the profit they'll be getting for one bag, for selling one bag at $40 is $8, right? So if we want to find out the total profits they will get by selling 500 bags, right? What we'll do is 500 times the profit for a bag, okay? And that is 4,000, right? So the total profit is $4,000 if they sell 500 bags of rice. Okay, is this point clear to everyone? Like, is the question clear? And how we arrived at this answer? Any question, any question, any question? Okay, okay. Good. But now, our answer is correct. Our answers are correct. Maybe if you are applying for a software engineering job, okay, there's a question in the chat. Okay, it's clear. Okay. So maybe a software, mobile development, web development. It's not like they are also very important people, but you know, we were analysts, so we're very special. So so if you're applying for, you know, maybe another job, you've already gotten the answer. That's what they want you to do. You've gotten it, right? And this question was actually highlighted from one of the interviews I have taken. So that's why I always use it for all my sessions. I have about 2 or 3 that I was able to retain. Although you won't be able to retain everything, but the ones you can, okay, just keep it, you know, to help others too. Okay, so but if you solve it like this, if you take this approach, sorry, you know, in solving this particular question as a data analyst for a data analytic role, right? You failed woefully, okay, because you did not, there's no element of storytelling, right? So in data analytics, I actually don't want this 40-minute timer to hit again. So, okay, but I'll still explain, right? We have key aspects, right? The data you're projecting, first of all, must be instructive, right? It should give an instruction, okay? It should inspire, Okay, should inspire your target audience, and then there should be an information in it, okay, that you're trying to pass across, okay, to your target audience. And yes, the hard skills are actually very important. Knowing Python itself, knowing Tableau, Excel, all the formulas and all of that. But the soft skills are also important as well. Okay, understanding storytelling. Okay, how do I communicate my ideas to a particular target audience? Okay, and as a data analyst, sometimes it's not just one target audience you are reaching out to. You are reaching out to everybody. So if you are analyzing data on medical, let's say medical data, for instance, it should be clear enough to a degree that an accountant or a lawyer, or an engineer looking at your report, they should have an idea that, okay, this is what this person did, or this is what this person is trying to do. Okay, you should try as much as possible to connect with the emotions of your target audience. Okay, because that's what will bring their interest. Okay, that's what will pique their interest in the first place. Okay, so now we are approaching this problem. We're about to, okay, approach this problem as a data analyst. And if we want to approach this problem as an analyst, we have to introduce what we call variables. Okay, so let's read the question again. Okay, I'll be sharing the notebook to us at the end of the class. So after each class, our codes and everything that that was projected, I'll share the code notebook to you, so you also have access to it. And maybe you can correct some things or add, and maybe you can copy and paste too. So okay, so reading the question again. Sorry, ShopRite sells a bag of rice for $40 and makes 20% profit. If it sells 500 bags of rice, how much profit does it make, or do we make? So now I'm approaching this. Can I delete these two cells? Or don't worry, let me just create another code cell and then I'll put it here. Okay, so now approaching this as an analyst, what do? We're trying to impute storytelling to it, so that even though they might not understand the whole code and the whole workings and all the terms, but at least it should have meaning to it. Okay, so the first thing, okay, something in the comments in the chat box. Someone drop an emoji. Okay, there's an image. Would I be able to view this image? I'm coming. Sorry. Sorry. It's opening. Sorry about that. I'm trying to open the image you sent. Okay. Oh, someone has already done it. So we have a data analyst here. Wow. Okay. That's impressive. Don't worry, I've noted you now. Who is that? Who is that person? Can you unmute your mic so that we can? Who is Zoom user? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So.
do.
Oh, okay. Don't worry, I've noted you now. I've noted you. That's actually impressive. That's impressive, IB. Okay, that's impressive. But it's paying me small. Those of you that is new to it, don't worry. Those of us that are new to it will solve it. Don't worry. But that's impressive. That's impressive. So like I said earlier, some of us already have knowledge of Python, and then we're just maybe want to learn deeper or dive deeper into it. Or maybe we have knowledge of Python, but we don't know how to use it for data analytics. Okay, so don't worry, we'll get it. If we'll get it. So okay, so let's go back. Right. So as I was saying, approaching it as a data analyst, we have to it has to have meaning. It has to have a sense of meaning. Okay. Um, so instead of just writing 40 times 0.2, when you are doing maths, we're always advised, although it's not compulsory, to write out the parameters, okay, that you want to use for your mathematical operations and all of that. Okay, so the first thing we have there, the first item is the cost of the bag of rice. Okay, I think that's an error. Cost of rice bag should be an error. So it's cost of a bag of rice, right? So instead of writing 40, it's better we write the cost, okay, of I'm going to explain something of a bag of rice, okay, is equals to 40. Okay, now looking at this now, you can see lines. Can we all see the lines? Yellow lines, red lines. Can we all see it?
Yes, yes, yes. You can see.
Okay. Now, this is something you want to avoid, in Python and programming. You don't want to have errors. Okay. But you cannot avoid it. You will always have errors. The errors will always come. Okay. Okay. There's something in the chat box. Sorry. Okay. So we can see it. That's good. You always have, you just prepare your mind that no matter the task, except it's something simple, right? But by the time you've learned it and you're going for bigger tasks, you will always encounter errors. So you should just have that mindset of how do I tackle this error? Okay, how do I solve this particular problem? Okay, now what I try to do here is to create a variable. Okay, so this is the variable, the cost of a bag of rice, and what is storing is this 40, because they told us that the cost of a bag of rice is $40. So the data that is being stored in the variable is 40, and this is the variable itself, the cost of a bag of rice. I don't know if it's getting clear. And just to add, the data that is being stored in a variable is called a value. So that's what we call it. Data that is being stored in a variable is called a value. Okay, so but then there are laws that are attached to variables. Okay, you can't just remember that time when we were trying to write something on a text cell. I was like, you can write something on a text cell, but you can't write the same thing on a code cell, because the code cell does not recognize English. It just recognizes code. If we wrote this cost of a bag of rice on the text cell, it will see it as text and there's no problem. But because we're trying to write English now on the text cell, on the code cell, sorry, the computer does not, it cannot interpret what we are saying here. So there have been laws that have been assigned to this to solve this particular problem. So when time you are creating a variable, most especially like a long variable like this, okay, it's either you write everything together like this, no spaces, you don't put spaces, okay. Okay, you can see that those lines have gone, so it's not flagging any error again. Okay, you either choose to write it like this: cost of a bag of rice is equals to $40, right? 40. But then it does not really make sense. If I'm to look at it once, I might not see cost of a bag of rice initially. I might see cost of a bag of rice. Okay, like, okay, so what does that mean? Okay, I remember we said we're trying to connect with the emotions of our target audience. We want, even if they are not analysts or in that field, they should just have an idea of what we're doing. Okay, so you can either choose to write everything together without spaces, or include what we call the underscore, okay, which was what IB did, right? So underscore, cost underscore of underscore a underscore bag underscore price underscore. This is also correct. Okay, so the cost of a bag of rice is equals to $40. I don't know if we get it. Okay, so when you're creating a variable, the first thing is you cannot make use of spaces, and you can't make use of special characters, and then the variable cannot start with a number. Okay, so flag it as an error. So let's say I put a number in front of the variable here. You see red line, doesn't understand what we're saying. Okay, so I would still draft all of this in a Word document so that it's not like we're cramming. You can always go through it. So your variable cannot start with a number. You can't make use of special characters, and you can't make use of spaces, because by the time you put, the way the cell is designed now, by the time you put, let's say you put a dash here, you put a dash here, and then you put a dash here. Let's even remove the number. Okay, what is going to be interpreting is, how it's going to be interpreting this is cost minus off minus a minus bag. Okay, it's not going to be seeing it as dashes. It's going to be seeing it as an arithmetic operator. And it does not make sense, because cost minus off minus a minus bag minus this minus that doesn't make sense. So the best thing to do is to subscribe to underscores. Okay, that's when you're dealing with long and lengthy variables. Okay, instead of writing it together, because that does not make sense as well. But you see, with the underscore, you can see that, oh, okay, they're actually talking about the cost of a bag of rice. Okay, so those three laws, it can't start with a number, you can't use spaces, no matter what. You either jam everything together or use an underscore to separate it, right? And it does not host special characters. Okay, so the cost of a bag of rice is a variable, and there's another name they call it. They call this guy, the name of a variable is called an assignment statement. Okay, you can also, it's a variable, but then it's called, the name is called an assignment statement. Okay, and the content, that black content in the Coca-Cola bottle, right, is called a value, which is this 40 that we have here. So basically, we've created a variable that stores data. What does the variable store? The number 40. What is the name of the variable, or assignment statement, if I were to use the technical term, is the cost of a bag of rice. So in order for you to create a variable, you need an assignment statement, you need an arithmetic operator, because the equals to sign is also an arithmetic operator, and then you need a value. Okay, is this clear? Any question? Any question? Any question? Any question?
Yeah,
Okay.
very. But my concern now is that,
Yeah.
is it not possible to carry along our unit value when we are doing this?
Is it not possible to carry along? I didn't hear.
Our unit value when we are doing this. What do I mean by unit value? Okay, we are dealing with dollar now. Dollar is our unit value.
Okay. No. There's a way to do that. But if you put dollar sign here, it will still flag it as an error, because the dollar sign is not a code. Although
Okay.
yes, sir, we'll still get into that. There's a way to input the dollar sign to it, but then we have to get into functions first. By the time we get into functions, we will know how to impute this dollar sign to the value. But then the dollar sign cannot even be here. It will only be at the end of our results, like what is going to be displayed down. It won't be here when we're still trying to perform the operation. But when we want to perform our outputs now, okay, let's say if I run this now, right? Okay, I have to define it. I was getting to this point, but since you asked the question, let me just explain that part, right? So it gives us that the cost of a bag of rice is 40, right? Then I can now create maybe another statement, since I want to add the unit value there, that prints the cost of a bag of rice is maybe something like this, and then $40 or something. Okay, but there are different ways, there are different techniques we can use to, input it, but it cannot be imputed here when we're still doing the operation. Okay, it's 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, and we've not solved this question. What's the time? 11:48. Okay. Okay, another person, Bolaji. Sorry, who is Bolaji? Okay. Mr. BJ, welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. You
Good
came
morning.
late. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, good morning. So sorry.
Ah,
So
see where
sorry,
you're
sir.
coming.
So sorry.
Oh,
So
yeah.
sorry. So
Oh, don't
sorry.
worry. You watch the recordings.
Immediately I joined, I noticed that the class is recorded. So but that's just my joy now. So sorry, sir. So sorry.
No, there's no problem, sir. There's no problem, sir. I understand the pressure from work and everything. I understand, sir. So no problem, sir. No problem. But if you have any issues, if you don't get something in the recording, you can just always message me out. I'll be available. I'll be available. Okay, so let's
Okay, sir.
continue.
Thank you
Let's
so much,
continue.
sir.
But Mr. Engineer Lamid, is it clear, sir?
Well clear.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So I was about to explain. So now we've created the variable. Now if you run it, you see that there's no output. But this is like a limitation to collab. So there's no output yet. We have to define it. There's something we call define. But before we define it, let's highlight other parameters so that the definition that we're going to do is going to we understand why we have to define it. Okay. So the next thing is the next parameter. Okay, so we might have to this class will this session again is going to I thought maybe it will be possible to wrap it up, with this session. So it means we might have one more session. So that means for the recordings, but it's going to be short. So I'm speculating that each recording, since it's 40 minutes, it shouldn't be more than 100 MB, maybe highest 121 MB or so. So we'll have 3 recordings, but I would label all of them. So recording 1, recording 2, recording 3. Okay, so and please let's download it. Let's try as much as possible to save it on our local device. Okay, so just in case anything happens, you always have access to it. Okay, just in case anything happens to the cloud. Okay, so the next thing now is our profit margin, right? Sorry for the noise. I can't control it. I'm so sorry for the background sound. If you are hearing any. Okay, so like we said, we can't just write profit margin like this. Error. Okay, you can choose to write it together, but it does not look, the appearance is not good. Okay, so profit underscore margin. So the profit margin is 20%, 0.2. Okay, you can't write 20% too, right? Okay, remember that the percent is what's it called? It's a formula, right? So it has to be a code. So 0.2. Okay, and remember that formula when we use the percent sign, we said that the percent sign is a modulus operator, and but it's still sign, but let's just use sign. I just started. Okay, so it's a modulus sign. It's for remainder. So if you write 20% there, it's not percent that it will do at the end of the day. It will do the remainder of whatever you put there. So we should be careful. So, but then 20%, we all know 20% is 0.2, right? So, and then the number of bags, right? A number of bags is 500. Now, we've highlighted all of the parameters, right? Okay, so you see that I ran it now, and it didn't give me any output. So Python cannot assume that, okay, we want to see number of bags or profit margins or the cost of a bag of rice. We have to define it. We have to tell it, oh, this is the output that we want to see. Okay. So for instance, if I want to see number of bags, what I just do is I'll write number of bags again to specify that, okay, the output I want to see now is number of bags. So you can see here that it tells us 500. If I want to see the cost of a bag of rice, you define it again. The cost of a bag of rice. So you can see Collab here brings it automatically just to save time instead of typing it, because it's long. So the cost of a bag of rice, by the time you run it, tells us that the cost of a bag of rice is 40. Okay, so that's what I mean by defining at the end of the day. Okay, so because we're using the Collab framework, for other frameworks, for some is it's different. They all have their because they all developed by different people. Collab now is Google. Okay, so Jupyter Notebook is Jupyter. So different people, different teams built their own softwares in different ways, and so however they set it, that's how we have to accept it. Okay, so now we have highlighted the 3 parameters that we need for this particular arithmetic operation. Okay, so the next thing now we can do, you can just write it on the same cell, but just for clarity, let me just do it on another cell. So normally if there was time, because time is almost exhausted, I would have just put a text cell here to say, okay, parameters. Okay, now we want to calculate the profit per bag. Okay, remember how we calculated the profit per bag here? We just did 40 times 0.2. But now, since we've identified our variables, we won't just say 40 times 0.2, because 40 now is being stored in a container that has a name. And the name of that container is the cost of a bag of rice. So instead of saying 40 times 0.2, I will create another variable, because what I'm trying to find now is the profit per bag. So I'll create a variable called profit underscore per underscore bag, a new variable. So what is the profit per bag? 40 times 0.2. But what is the name of 40? The name of 40 is the cost of a bag of rice. So it will be profit per bag is equals to the cost of a bag of rice, which is 40, right? Multiplied by the profit margin, which is 0.2. Okay, so instead of writing 40 and 0.2 here, is the cost of a bag of rice times profit margin, profit underscore margin, right? So now we run our code. Okay, you can see it's profit per bag, but then we have to define it to see the results of this expression that we have written. So all you need to do again is to write the profit per bag exactly how you wrote it initially. Okay, profit per bag, right? And then run it, and then it gives us 8. So you can see we got the same answer, but then we used different techniques to arrive at the same answer. So if you are approaching the interview as a developer, a software engineer, you can make use of this one, right? And you still pass. Okay, this is the right approach. But then, yeah, approaching it as an analyst, this is the way you should approach, the problem solving. Okay, so they read it. Okay, so what they did, they highlighted the parameters. The cost of a bag of rice is this. So we want to find out the profit per bag. Okay, so the profit per bag, how did he get it? The cost of a bag of rice multiplied by the profit margin, and then he got this. Okay, so I'll be ending this now. Then we'll be creating our final, our last meeting link. So let's just, please, I'm very, very sorry. It's just for a while. It's not always going to be like this. Okay, so let's just join again the same link, and then because I know we have questions now, and this is the phase where we'll be having questions. So by the time we come back, we should start asking our questions.